The course of history is not inevitable. A single choice, a different path taken, can reshape continents and alter the fate of civilizations forever. What if the first true handshake across the Atlantic wasn't with a sword, but with a shared purpose? Image_shorts_1, a lone figure seen from behind, silhouetted against a setting sun over a misty fjord. Image_shorts_2, two robed scholars back to camera, walking toward an ancient stone monument half buried in a forest. Image_shorts_3, an extreme close-up of an ancient carved stone fragment with abstract interlocking geometric patterns, combining angular Nordic knotwork and circular indigenous motifs, no readable text. Imagine a North America where the thunder of longships met the wisdom of the ancients, not in battle, but in alliance. In this alternate timeline, a world of speculation, not history, we ask, what if the Vikings allied with the Native Americans? Image_shorts_1, a group of figures, cloaked and hooded, standing at the edge of a precipice, looking out over a vast, wild landscape. Image_shorts_2, two figures with their backs to the camera, standing before a large illuminated parchment map on a wall. No readable text, no pointing gesture. Image_shorts_3, an extreme close-up of a weathered, rough-hewn leather map fragment showing indistinct symbols. A tale of ice and fire, of iron and flint, where two worlds destined for conflict instead forged a bond strong enough to defy the tides of time and empire. Let's dive into the Historix Vault. Image_shorts_1, a figure in ancient garb seen from behind walking into a cavern bathed in an ethereal light. Image_shorts_2, two figures seen from behind, one in Norse-style furs and one in indigenous leather attire, standing side by side, looking towards a bright horizon. Image_shorts_3, an extreme close-up of finely woven ancient textile with geometric patterns and intertwined animal motifs. It's the early 11th century. Norse explorers, led by figures like Thorfinn Karlsefni, pushed further west from Greenland, establishing temporary settlements in a land they called Vinland, rich with timber and grapes. But Vinland was not empty. Indigenous peoples, whom the Norse called Skrælings, already inhabited these lands. Initial encounters were often violent, marked by suspicion and misunderstanding. Yet, among these diverse groups were the formidable Mi'kmaq, skilled hunters, resourceful survivors, and fierce protectors of their ancestral territories. The Norse, though brave, were few, isolated, and stretched thin. The unforgiving Vinlandic winter soon arrived, biting hard. Resources dwindled, and the Norse struggled to adapt to the land's harsh rhythms, unfamiliar with its true bounty and perils. As their numbers weakened, a new threat emerged, a raiding party from a rival, aggressive tribe from the interior, seeing an opportunity in the weakened newcomers. The Mi'kmaq, watching from the periphery, initially saw this as an external conflict, a self-correcting problem. But something shifted as they witnessed the brutality of the assault. Just as the Norse line was about to break, overwhelmed by sheer numbers, a pivotal decision was made. A young Mi'kmaq sagamore, witnessing the raw courage of the Norse, saw not enemies, but potential allies. With a sudden, piercing war cry, the Mi'kmaq burst from the woods, turning the tide of battle with their mastery of the terrain. The raiders, caught between two determined foes, quickly broke and fled, but this was only the beginning. In the quiet aftermath, an uneasy truce settled. Wounds were tended. Stories exchanged through gestures and rudimentary signs. A shared victory against a common foe had forged a fragile connection. Over weeks, mutual respect grew. The Norse offered their prized iron tools and weapons, a marvel to the Mi'kmaq. In return, the indigenous people shared their profound knowledge of the land, its game, and its hidden pathways. Soon, joint hunting parties ranged through the forests, their combined skills making them unmatched. Norse settlements expanded, now featuring adapted longhouses built with indigenous techniques, becoming true hybrid communities. This unique alliance began to consolidate power. Neighboring indigenous groups, impressed by their strength and prosperity, either joined the burgeoning confederation or faced its formidable combined might. While this new Vinlandic Confederation flourished in relative isolation, far across the churning Atlantic, the seeds of another great expansion were already being sown. Ships of a different kind would soon cast their shadows on these shores. Decades later, as the 15th century dawned, strange new ships appeared off the coast of Vinland, not the familiar dragon-headed longships, but larger, square-rigged vessels, early European explorers venturing further west. The Vinlandic people, now a distinct blend of Norse and indigenous cultures, observed these newcomers with a mix of curiosity and growing alarm. These were not traders seeking furs, they were conquerors seeking land and riches. A landing party, heavily armed, soon came ashore, planting flags and attempting to claim the land. Their actions were bold, dismissive of any existing sovereignty. The first direct encounter was tense. Gestures of ownership were met with defiant silence. The Europeans, accustomed to unchallenged superiority, underestimated the sophisticated, unified people before them. Misinterpreting the Vinlandic restraint as weakness, the Europeans grew bolder. They attempted to seize valuable timber, or perhaps even take captives back to Europe as proof of their discovery. This act of aggression was the spark. The Great Council of Vinland, composed of both Norse and indigenous elders, knew that appeasement was not an option. A unified defense was paramount. Across the Confederation, preparations began. Norsemiths forged iron, sharpening axes and spears, while Mi'kmaq hunters prepared their cunning traps and planned ambush routes. The inevitable clash came swiftly. The Europeans, relying on their steel armor and gunpowder, found themselves outmatched by the Vinlandic knowledge of the terrain, their synchronized tactics, and superior mobility. Paused then, a coordinated Vinlandic charge broke through the European lines, targeting their leaders and their precious supply ships anchored offshore. The invaders, disoriented and leaderless, began to falter. Outmaneuvered and overwhelmed, the European forces retreated in disarray, scrambling back to their ships. It was a stunning defeat, a clear message sent across the Atlantic. This land was not undefended. This victory cemented the Vinlandic Confederation's control over its territories. Tales of fierce, white Skraelings and their formidable indigenous allies spread through European ports, turning Vinland into a dreaded mythical place. Future European expeditions, though more numerous, continued to face a unified and adaptable foe. The Vinlandic people learned quickly, adopting European technologies like firearms and shipbuilding into their own unique methods. Over centuries, the Vinlandic Confederation evolved into a unique North Atlantic empire, a maritime power spanning from what is now Newfoundland down to parts of New England. Culturally, it was a tapestry woven from divergent threads. Norse sagas of gods and heroes intertwined with indigenous oral histories of ancestral spirits and the land's deep memory. Technology advanced, blending Norse metallurgy and shipbuilding with indigenous agricultural practices and sophisticated understanding of natural medicines. Politically, their governance was a nuanced blend. Democratic Norse tings, or assemblies, found common ground with the consensus-driven council systems of the indigenous nations. Crucially, the devastating European diseases, which decimated other native populations, found less fertile ground here. Centuries of contact created limited exposure and some adaptive resilience, allowing for a slower, more manageable spread. While the Vinlandic Confederation protected its own, the westward expansion of other European powers still occurred, but with a powerful, independent entity blocking their path in the northeast, the continental story was vastly different. Europe, facing an impenetrable barrier in the north, focused its colonial ambitions elsewhere, perhaps accelerating colonization in Central and South America, or shifting attention to Africa and Asia. The balance of global power was fundamentally altered. A powerful, indigenous Norse empire in the North Atlantic ensured that North America would never simply be a canvas for European conquest. This alternate North America was a mosaic of cultures, a testament to what might have been had cooperation triumphed over conflict at history's crucial junctures. So what if the Vikings allied with the Native Americans? It would have birthed not just a new civilization, but a bulwark against the tide of colonization, forever changing the course of human history. A story of shared strength, resilience, and the power of unity, a potent reminder that our past is filled with roads not taken and futures left unwritten. Every empire has a story history forgot. This has been Historix Vault. More are coming. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.